This is Pastor Michael Coffey at First English Lutheran Church in Austin, Texas, and this is another Tiny Desk sermon. This is an opportunity for me to take a first look at the readings for this coming Sunday and share some impromptu reflections. This Sunday is January 28th, and it is Lectionary 4, or the fourth Sunday after the Epiphany. The Gospel reading is from Mark, and that's what I want to focus on. And it comes from chapter 1, beginning at verse 21. They went to Capernaum, they as Jesus and his disciples. And when the Sabbath came, he entered the synagogue and taught. They were astounded at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes. Just then there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." But Jesus rebuked him, saying, "Be silent, and come out of him." And the unclean spirit, convulsing him and crying with a loud voice, came out of him. They were all amazed, and they kept on asking one another, "What is this? A new teaching with authority? He commands even the unclean spirits, and they obey him." At once his fame began to spread throughout the surrounding region of Galilee. Well, it's a very interesting scene that maybe challenges some of our assumptions about faith and healing and spiritual power and things. So we have to kind of enter into the world of this text and listen to what's going on to hear how it might speak to us today. One thing to hear is that there's something going on in the text with the demonic, with unclean spirits, and those being able to get inside and take hold of someone's life. I don't know what you do with that and how you think about things, but what we should hear in the text is this is still chapter 1 in Mark's Gospel, and if we were listening to this story being told, this comes very quickly, and it comes right after Jesus' baptism. So we can't miss what we would have just heard coming into this story, which is that when Jesus is baptized, the heavens are ripped open. The barrier between God and humanity is opened up, and the Spirit of God descends and enters into Jesus. Jesus is possessed by the Holy Spirit of God. John the Baptist had just said in the first section of Mark that he baptized with water, Jesus would baptize with the Holy Spirit. Now Jesus, for the first time, encounters somebody who has an unclean spirit or a demonic spirit. And you can see in the encounter, there's no contest here. The unclean spirits in this poor man recognize immediately that Jesus has the power of the Holy Spirit, and they are afraid of him. "What are you going to do with us? Leave us alone." And Jesus commands them out, and they're out. And the man is set free, healed, liberated. So, again, it's a bit of a difficult story to translate if you don't think about the spiritual world in the same way as the text might be, but I think we can hear what's going on in this text that is good news for us. That in Jesus, the power of God, the Holy Spirit, has entered into our realm, and all of the demonic powers in our world are no match for God's Spirit. Now, you might think about the demonic powers, if you don't want to picture something like The Exorcist and demon possession in that way, is any power in our lives that diminishes life. Any power in someone else's life that takes life away from them. It could be religious institutions, it could be governmental powers, it could be the economy, it could be family members who are unhealthy and are overbearing, abusive, anything that gets into our lives, that diminishes life for us or for someone else, we could call a demonic spirit. So how is it that we can trust and believe enough that the Holy Spirit that comes into our lives as a gift through Jesus from God has the power to remove, to heal, to free us from any of those demonic powers? The text is saying, be amazed that Jesus bears the Holy Spirit of God to us. And it's a life-giving spirit, not a life-robbing spirit. And somehow, in this gospel, faith in Jesus as the bearer of the life-giving spirit, heals, liberates, sets free, transforms our lives to live in the good news of the kingdom. So I invite us all to contemplate on how we can trust enough in the Holy Spirit of God that is given us through Jesus. Really can set us free from anything that tries to diminish life as God intended us to live it. Peace to all.